All right, everybody, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, if I could ask you guys to stay clear of the stage area here, this way nobody blocks this big display behind me, and it gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? Also, if I could ask you guys to not send me any text messages while I'm up here, because listen, when you're up here and all of a sudden you get a text message, it's like hitting a wall, except it's a wall of text, and that can really throw you off when that happens. So if you can hold off any, questions or comments until the end of the event, I'd really appreciate that. Really, the best way to get a hold of us is by joining our Discord. You'll find the address right over here on the front of the stage right there. So that's a really, a best way to get a hold of us. Also, if I could draw your attention to your lower left, you're going to see that collection of circles there. At the very top of that is a microphone icon. When that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear you and everything that's happening in your environment. So we've gone ahead and turned that to red. This means if somebody comes in your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? We're not going to hear that, so feel free to answer them. Likewise, if maybe you have a barking dog in your environment, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? But just because you're muted, don't feel like you can't express yourself. You're going to find in your menu wheel that you have that pink cheek smiley face. You can and should click on that, and you're going to get your emoji panel. It opens up in the air in front of you, giving you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So if, for example, I share something really deep and powerful and meaningful, right? It starts to build up inside you. You can just let it out and just let it flow just like that, all right? See, somebody's found the frown button in the back. That's a good thing. All right, let's say maybe I got some backup dancers, backstage, and they come out. We break into It's Quest Time, the musical, and you can throw up the applause that I live for, and I can take a moment to drink it all in because it feels good, right? If I ask you guys your yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like that, or you can say no by frowning like this. All right, maybe I say something funny. You can use this to indicate that you're laughing, that silly face emoji like that. And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis. I think we can agree on that. A giant hand coming out of your head, it can, be kind of distracting. So we're going to use this as kind of a signal. Let's say if, for example, my voice goes choppy, or maybe, my producer or one of my moderators, they finally had enough and they snap and they set the stage on fire behind me, and I don't know, and there's this big fire behind me and it's growing. Don't laugh, that's happened before, and it's probably going to happen again. So if that kind of thing goes down, I'm going to want to know about it. So go ahead and press that raise hand button just like that, and that's a good way to let me know something's going on. Now, if you're one of those where the hand is just popping up constantly, we got a couple guys in the back doing that, right? Well, I'm probably just going to keep on going. It might just be you too. You might just need to re-enter the space if that's going on. But if maybe if 5 of you do it at one time, then I know there's something I got to address. So I'm gonna do it that way. But if now also you're gonna notice there's an X in the middle of the emoji panel. If you click it, the emoji panel will close. But it's a good idea to keep it open during events like this, because for one, it lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, they found something funny, right? And you may not agree. You may be like, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can totally do that because this is VR, right? You can stand wherever you want, except you can't do it on the stage here because we just agreed before that you guys weren't going to do that. That's going to be our sacred bond. That's our pact, people. All right, cool. All right, let's see here. Now, I got used to we just changed the way we did the slides, and I got used to the panel being out in front of me, and now it's not. And I'm like, oh no, where did it go? It's behind me. All right, cool. All right, now let's get an idea of what kind of crowd we're dealing with today. How many of you are on a quest right now? If you're on a quest right now, put your hands up. Let me see. All right, wow, that's a lot of you. All right, how many of you are on an original quest? Anyone on an original quest, put your hands up. All right, cool. All right, and the rest of you, I assume, from that are on a quest too. All right, cool. How many of you are new to Altspace? If you're new to Altspace, put your hands up like that. Any new Altspace users? Wow, look at all of you. Well, welcome to Altspace. All right, I think you're going to really enjoy it here. We got a lot of real cool stuff here. How many of you are new to VR? Hands up like this if you're new to VR, like you're just starting out, like, oh, this is still kind of weird for you. All right, cool. This is a perfect audience. This is awesome. All right. Well, when I first was waiting for my Quest to arrive, I was on an Oculus Go. And you may not know this, but the Oculus Go only has one controller. So I was going around Altspace with only one hand. Now, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so I'm used to talking with my hands an awful lot, right? And so when I was in Altspace, all anybody saw was my hand going like this. And I didn't feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I couldn't wait for that hand to arrive so I can do this, move around like that. And, but when it did arrive, I took a good look at those controls and I was like, you know what? Those are a lot of buttons. That's a lot to take in, and it only takes a few days or week to a week for it really to get a handle on that. I do like to go over the controls so everybody can, kind of start out and get the, most out of Altspace. That's mainly what this event covers, is how to get the most out of Altspace with an Oculus Quest or an Oculus Quest 2. And when my Oculus Quest 2 arrived, I took a good look at those buttons, and you know what? Those are pretty much the same buttons. All right. There's only a couple of differences you need to be aware of. On the Quest 2, you have increased room on the sides of the controllers for an area that they call the thumb rest, and you'll find that if you touch it, your avatar's thumb is going to go down. All right, so you can touch it on the side, you find that your thumb goes down just like that. All right, but on an original Quest and on the Quest 2, if you touch the buttons or the thumbstick without pushing down, your avatar's thumb will also go down. So it's pretty much the same thing there. And on the bottom of the controller, you have this roundish concave kind of button, and on the original Quest, that's a flat button. But other than that, the controls are pretty much identical. And I do like to get over them, because when you're first starting out, it can be a lot to take in, and I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable using them. And if you already are used to them, don't worry. We try to do it in a fun way where we, do some movement stuff. Because listen, if you're here already, I know you have a handle on the basics. Like if you move your left thumbstick, you're going to move around like this. If you move your right thumbstick, you're going to turn in these circles. But when you combine them, you get these big, elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If you guys can go ahead and go into these big circles, this way when I look out in the audience, because it's going to look like you guys are ballroom dancing. Let's see. Oh, wow, you guys look fancy. Look at that. I always say I wish you guys could see what this looks like, and you can, because if you stand over on this rug area here and you look out, you're going to see we've got Ravenhall floating up in the air there. That's actually our YouTube camera. So if you look up and you start waving out and be like, hey, YouTube, how's it going? You can feel VR famous in a couple of weeks when we post this event. Like we got Hummingbird here. We got MNH Joy. We've got Raphael L. We've got Brad Perry 2020. We've got a lot of people in here. Come on in Altspace. I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, cool. Let's start going over this and let's look what we got here. The first thing we're going to talk about is these grip buttons on the side of your controllers. Now, this is how you're going to interact with your environment. This is going to be how you grab those bottle rockets in your home space, how in the campfire you grab those bean bags, right? And if you've never tried the grip button before, maybe one of my backup dancers can toss me out some basketballs here, and I'll toss them out. So if you've never tried the grip button here, you can go grab onto those and just toss those around to get really, kind of get a feel for it. All right. Now, if you're having a standing experience, that for some reason, that's always the reason the time when somebody's going to ask you to open your main menu. Like when you walk out past those buttons and somebody says, just press the blue and white triangle button on your lower left. And you look down, you're like, listen, there's nothing there. And they're like, oh, no, it's right there on your lower left. And you're looking down and go, no, it's not. Right. And then you look around going, oh, where is this thing? And you look around, it's like always behind you. Right. You have to remember that on a Quest and an Oculus Quest 2, your main menu is in your hands at all times. All right. On your left controller, this bottom button just below the thumbstick, on the Quest 1, it's flat. And on the Quest 2, it's kind of rounded out and concave. But if you feel around, you should be able to feel that. Now, when you press that, your main menu is going to open up in the air in front of you. When you press it again, your main menu is going to close. The truth is that blue and white triangle button in your lower left, you don't have to press that at all if you don't want to. I haven't touched that thing in months. Every time I want to open my main menu, I kind of flick my hand out like that, and boom, my menu's open. And then I flick it again, and boom, my menu's closed, just like that, right? You don't have to do that hand flick. I just think it kind of adds something, right? You can kind of do that. All right. Now, another button you should be aware of. Listen, while these are a lot of buttons and it is a lot to take in, keep in mind that some of these buttons do the same thing. If you look at your right trigger button right here, and the select button on your right controller, and if you have your left pointer enabled through your main menu, your left select button, those are three buttons that do the identical thing, right? If you squeeze your right trigger right now and move the audience through the crowd, you're going to notice that you got everyone's name tag appearing above their head, and that's how I know everybody's name so fast. That's how I know it's Friendo High over there, and we've got Peter Doubt right there, and Daydream over there in the back. You can so you can see everybody's name very quickly when you do that. Also, you need to be aware of your vertical height in Altspace. When I first came in Altspace on a Quest, I came into the campfire and I was like much taller than everybody else. And I'm looking around going, what's going on? Right. So you got to be aware of this. And the way you can make these adjustments to your height, if somebody's willing to change their height and demonstrate this for me, is anybody willing to, stand up a little bit or scooch down? Anybody willing to change their height for me? Anybody? Oh, here we go. Let's see. All right. Zach, press down your left thumbstick and show everybody what happens when you press down on it like it's a button, because it is. Just press down. There you go. It got to snap into place. And you could also use this to make minor adjustments to your height. So if you're talking to somebody in Altspace that you're used to seeing in real life, and in real life they're taller than you, so it feels kind of uncomfortable, you can make small adjustments. Like if you look up and press down on that left thumbstick, your avatar is going to kind of pop down a little bit, and then you'll be a little bit shorter than the person you're talking to. If you look down and press down on the left thumbstick, your avatar is going to pop up, and you'll be a little bit taller. If you want to be the same height as everybody else, just look straight ahead and press that left thumbstick down, and you're going to be the same height as everybody else. So you You push down on it like it's a button, and this is called recentering, and it'll make you more comfortable if you feel like you're too tall or you're too short, and you just want to adjust your height really quickly. Also, you're going to find that on your right controller next to your thumbstick, there are two raised up buttons there, and that top one, that's your teleport button. That's a good way to get around Altspace. And if you join me along this wall here, let's try it out. So you press down on that left thumbstick and hold down, and you're going to aim it at the floor, and you're going to see your teleport target. Now, wherever you aim this, if you aim this across the room toward that glass window area there, like up against that brick wall, as soon as you let go, boom, you're going to get thrown right across the room. Everybody teleport over to me while there's still time. You can make it. I believe in you. Come on, just press that teleport button. Head on over. All right. Now, if you, on your left controller, if you hold down your trigger button, all right, so your index finger right there, this is going to enable you to go faster, whether you're walking or you're flying. All right. So hold that down and let's try that out as we head out. We're going to go into like a big circle here, everybody. Let's make it, a big whirlpool. Let's make a hurricane. Let's see if we can make it rain. Let's see. And then try to go into a perfect circle. And you can do that by looking at the middle of the floor, and let's see your formation here. I'm going to check it out. Little circle inspection going on here. That is not a circle, people. All right, it's more like it was a figure eight for a second, but it's kind of all over the place. Anybody getting dizzy doing that? Anybody getting dizzy while you're doing that? Because a couple hands there. Okay. Well, we will show you a couple of techniques to deal with the dizziness in just a moment. All right. But when you feel dizzy, you should probably stop doing that thing. All right. Let's see here. Now, another thing you need to be aware of. Listen, when this stuff, it will start coming more naturally to you. You also notice, here's another cool thing you can do is if you're facing the stage, right, and you hold down on that left accelerator button there, the trigger button right here, and you go backwards like this, you can teleport at the floor, right, and you keep doing that movement, you'll go into like the Altspace moonwalk, which I hope is not a copyright infringement, because that would be bad, right? Another thing you can do that would be pretty cool is you can actually put your arm over your head and teleport backwards, just like that. All right, so that's pretty neat. Now, a lot of this stuff, I used to go to the universe, and back then it was held in a really large world. And I walked up to the edge of that world at the end of the event to explore, and I walked a little bit too far, and I fell. All right, now as I'm falling, I look over, and there's this cliff there, and I managed to teleport onto it just before my avatar could respawn. Because it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace, right? But I knew in that moment that I was finally starting to get a handle on the controls, and you will too. It only takes a few days to about a week or so. It'll start coming more and more natural, and there's going to come a time where even though you're going to feel the plastic in your hands, there's going to come a time where these actually become your hands, where you won't think about what you're doing with the gestures that you're making. Like if I tell everybody, hey, everyone, look out that window, I don't think about how I'm pointing. I just do it. And for the record, if you squeeze down your grip buttons, you're going to find that your hands go into a point. And you can combine this into a variety of ways. Like, everybody give me a Brooklyn hello. Go like this. This is how we do it back home. Be like, how you doing? Just like that. All right, very nice. Now, if you put them together like this, you can make a triangle, sort of make the Altspace logo, right? And lift it up high. Show me some Altspace pride, everybody. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's nice to see. Very cool. All right. Now, if you twist them together, you can make kind of a picture frame like that, right? Maybe you squeeze your trigger button to get a little shutter action going. How cool would it be to take a screenshot like this, right? You'd be like, snap, snap. Oh, that's a nice audience. Snap, snap. Just like that. All right. That's cool. All right. Now, if you hold your grip and your trigger buttons together, you can give me 2 thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job up here. Be like, yeah, maybe I'm not. Maybe you're like, you know what? You really messed that last bit up. I don't know. 2 thumbs down, right? Maybe you haven't made up your mind yet, right? You can give me a little bit of both. Right. And then people have been doing this thing. I don't know what that means. Then if you let go of your trigger buttons, it kind of makes a W. That's pretty cool. One of the first quest times we ever had, somebody came up to the stage and they were going like this, right? And I thought it was cool. So I started doing it back. And then the whole audience started doing this. We had the whole room. Everybody was going like that. And really, you know what? That's the best way to pick this stuff up. Right? If somebody's doing something that you like, right, copy them, mirror that gesture, and make it your own. And in this way, there's going to come a point where all this stuff's going to become automatic, right? If you watch me while I'm up here and I'm moving my hands around, you're going to see that my fingers move too. And it's not that I'm like going, oh, I'm going to do this for emphasis. I become very accustomed to moving my hands like this, and you will too. All right, let's see, what else do we have going on here? All right, yeah. Now, one button you need to be concerned about here, and don't press this now, because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it. All right, but down toward the bottom of your right control, you have the Oculus Home button. Now, it pays to think of this as an eject button. Like, let's say somebody comes into my space and says, hey, dinner's ready. I'll be like, oh, gotta go. And I hit that eject button. Now it's going to see the Oculus main menu screen, and I'll have an option to quit or resume. This is super useful in case maybe you press that button by accident. Like, let's say you're at the universe, you're dancing around, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden you press that eject button, right? And you're at the Oculus main, home screen. You press resume, you come back right in Altspace. Nobody will ever know you were gone. right? So you just keep going like you were, right? Another thing you can do is, but this is also very useful to press when, in like when things go wrong. So let's say that, I'm up here and I'm talking to you guys and I look out the window for a moment, and as I turn my head back, the whole world moves with me. Now in VR, that can make you feel really dizzy when that happens, and it pays to know how to deal with that quickly when it does. So I would press that eject button, and this time when that menu came up to say quit or resume, I would press quit, and that would close the app, and then I can restart it. I can come back in, and that's going to take care of most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace. But occasionally something more serious might happen, right? Like if, for example, I look out that window again, and now as I move my head back, I notice that there's a black void surrounding the edges of my screen, right? And all you guys are frozen in space very dramatically. You all look very fancy. You're all like this, all posed, right? And everything seems to be frozen because it is. And this isn't unique to Altspace. This happens in other apps as well, where your headset just kind of freezes. And the best way to solve this is by restarting your headset. And when I first started out, I would take my headset off to restart it. But if it wasn't in a charge cycle, it wouldn't light up, and it takes a long time to restart it. You get to thinking something's wrong with your headset. And I found it pays to really be able to restart your headset while it's still on your head. This is a good skill to have. And the way you do this is you take your index finger of your right hand and you swipe it up and down the side of your device, right? And you're going to feel that raised up power button. Now, you don't want to slide your headset all over your face. That's pretty uncomfortable. So you take your left index finger and you kind of squeeze them together to balance it out, right? And I find it helps, to look down like you're in a deep concentration pose, right? And after about 4 seconds, you concentrate so hard your avatar just disappears, and you get plunged into the darkness, but you don't let go. You just hang on. You ride it out. After about 10 seconds go by, you start wondering, man, why did Oculus make it take so long? After about 15 seconds go by, you start wondering how your friends are doing, ones you haven't seen in a while. 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about life. You start thinking about the big questions, right? And then after 20-something seconds go by, all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo emerges like the bat signal. And when it starts to pulse, you just move your fingers away like that, and your device will start normally, and you're going to find this is going to take care of most of the problems that you have, not just in Altspace, but in other apps as well. But occasionally, something more serious can go on. And when that happens, like a few weeks ago, I'd come into Altspace, and every time I came in, the app would close just after 2 minutes of use. So I'd get up on stage and be like, I don't know why I keep disappearing, everybody. I don't know what's going on. And I disappear again, right? So I reinstalled the app, and that didn't help. Right. And sometimes the only option you really have is what's called a factory reset. But you have to keep in mind, if you need to do this, any pictures that you have saved on the device, you're going to lose. You're going to have to re-download all of your apps. The good news is you won't have to pay for them again, but you will lose a lot of your preferences. You may even lose your Beat Saber scores. OK, so it's serious business, people, and only use this in an emergency. But it's good to know that it's there. All right. Now, let's see here. Now, if you're here today, you're already familiar with your Guardian system, right? Most of you have done that tour where you danced with the robot. You played with the blimp to get used to things. I see nods going on. It was pretty cool, right there, Zach. It was a pretty cool experience, dancing with that robot like that, right? So you're already aware of your Guardian system, but what you may not be aware of is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace, right? Because a lot of times you'll see somebody walking along in Altspace, they're having a good day, right? And all of a sudden, boom, they hit a real world wall, because those real world are a menace and they need to be stopped, right? So I find it helps if you lead with your hands a lot, but you can actually use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace, and let me show you how to do that. All right. When we go around in that big circle, how many of you got dizzy doing that? All right. Anybody get dizzy from that? I see a few hands. All right, cool. All right. Not cool. All right. When you first start out in VR, you tend to get dizzy pretty easily. Eventually you get your VR legs to become better. But until it does, when you become dizzy, one of the best things you can do is take your hand. And even though this isn't your real hand, this is your avatar's hand, take a good look at it. Put it right in front of your face, just like that. Right. And focus on it. You're going to find that the dizziness starts to pass. And when it does, you just slowly take your hand away and take in the world around you. This can really help it. You can use your Guardian system for this too, right? Like if I walk up to my real world wall right now, I'm going to lead with my hands out. And when I do, when I get close, that grid is going to appear in the air in front of me, right? But I can still touch my thumbsticks. So I can move my avatar around while I'm right next to my wall in the real world, right? So I can line up my wall with this display here. Right. So I can kind of lock onto it and sort of create a reality anchor where I can feel a connection to the real world. Like I'm backing up and I see, every time I look at that, I know that's my real world wall, and it makes me feel a little bit more stable. Right. So what happens if, let's say I fall off the stage here and I'm in the audience. So let's say that you guys aren't a nice group and you come over here and you start sticking your hands in my face, trying to make me dizzy. Go ahead. Give me the worst you got. Get it out of your system. All right. So everybody's like sitting here and they're messing with me. And as long as I'm focused on that wall, really, it's not going to throw me off. You'll find I'm not messing up my words. I'm not losing my place at all, right? As long as I can see that display, it's huge. There's no way you guys can really completely block it. Like as long as I can see that, I'm completely fine, right? And it doesn't mess me up at all. You could also use like the edge of the stage here and line this up with a real world table or a real world desk, and in this way you create landmarks that are in your real environment that'll help you feel more balanced and more connected to the real world, so that when you do get that dizziness or that vertigo, this is going to kind of like, really help you balance yourself quickly. All right. And then it'll happen less and less, and you just get better and better in dealing with it. Also, you can transition between a room scale and a stationary experience pretty effortlessly in Altspace. So let's say I'm up here and, I've done over 500 events in Altspace, and it's a lot. Right. And I'm starting to feel it, man. People are copying my events, and the schedule of stuff's going, it's getting very competitive. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I need to sit down, people. Right. And the way I can do this is I can walk up to the edge of my Guardian. And when I do this, I put my hands out and make sure I've got enough room for my head to pass through. And as you guys know, when you put your head through there, the pass through camera goes off and you can see the real world. Right. They also have this experimental feature now in the settings. Look out for this because it's super handy. All you have to do is just go tap, tap on the side of your device. You go tap, tap, and all of a sudden you can see the real world. Right. So I go tap, tap. And I see I got my coffee mug right here. I take a sip of that. I throw it down because I'm going to have to clean that up later. I'm going to stop doing that. And, and I look over there and I've got my chair there. So I can just, walk on over into my chair, right? I can sit down into my chair. And now I've got a blue button asking if I want to have a stationary experience. So I'm like, yeah, cool. And I press that button. And when I do that, the grid pops up. And the next thing I'm still in VR. I never left. I'm still in Altspace. I never left that. Right. So you can go that way. And it also works in the other direction, too. I was moderating an event one time and I felt like getting up and walking around, and I figured I would just stand up and walk into my Guardian. Usually works like that. But sometimes your Quest can lose your Guardian due to changing light levels, or, for one reason or another, your device can't resolve where it is in your space quickly enough, and it asks you to draw another boundary because, hey, that's not a big deal. But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal. So I start drawing that boundary out, and I'm like, why is my space so big here? I don't know. And of all the times I had to moderate for an admin, why did it have to be today, Hummingbird? Why? I don't know. So what happened was, the grid comes up out of the ground, and I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. So remember this: if you're at an event and you're feeling tired and you want to sit down, you can. If you're at an event and you're getting all jazzed up, like, wow, that Michael Forrest really got me going, I feel like moving around, you absolutely can do that. All right, just be careful and remember to lead with your hands. All right, because this way you don't injure yourself or damage your equipment. Very important. All right, now another cool thing you can do, and this is not useful, just cool, is if you go up to the edge of your boundary, you're going to find if you stick your head through it and make sure you got enough room for your head to pass through. When you put your head through it, you're going to find that the pass-through camera goes off, right? And if you do this super slow, you're going to be able to see both realities at the same time. And this is going to enable you to see Altspace avatars, not in your real-world environment. And this is going to give you a real sense when you see them in a familiar environment. It's going to give you a sense of how big they are, right? Like, did you know that avatars are about 6 feet tall on average, and are a lot wider than you would think? And this really, this really hits home when you actually see them at home. Like, if you see an avatar in your living room, or you see them in your office, or wherever it is you VR from, you're going to get a real sense of the height. It's just fun to do. Check that out and try that when you get a chance. All right, now one of the great things about the Quest is it just works. This doesn't mean it can't work better. There's a lot of great accessories that really improve the experience. We have a lot of them and more coming up on our event page. If you can go check out by going to allvr.com, and in the upper left you'll see an area that says channels. Now there you're going to see all these great Altspace event channels, and down toward the bottom, they assure me that doesn't mean anything, you're going to see Ravenhall events, like it says up on the back wall there. Now when you click on that, you get taken to our event page, and you're going to see all the products that we recommend laid out there. And if we're still trying out the Quest 2 accessories, and in the case of the Quest 2, some of those accessories are more like necessities, right? Like the strap that the Quest comes with. A lot of people that think that's very uncomfortable. I'm one of them, and they find that the Elite strap's a lot better. Now there was a problem with the Elite strap where it was breaking on people, so they recalled it and they stopped shipping it. But they just started shipping them again, and they're so confident with the new design that these are built so much better that rather than the 1-year warranty that was coming with these, they're actually extending it to a 2-year warranty, which is pretty awesome. They're great about that. Now listen, if you've tried an accessory, want to hear about it. If you're on a Quest 2 and you've tried an accessory, want to hear about that. So the way we're going to do this is you're going to see in your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button appear as if by magic. It's true, that's what magic looks like in VR, right? So if you go ahead and press that raise hand button, it's going to turn blue and you'll be on my list, and I'll get to feel like a radio host as I call on your name there. And while we wait for it to fill up, if you guys are on Twitter and you want to find us, you can find us at Ravenhall VR. And if you are watching out on YouTube, you want to try any of these products, you're going to find them in the links in the description description below. All right, let's see. We've got some people on the list already. All right, this is cool. Let's see what we got here. We've got Brass Ones, I think the name is. I can't really see the full name there, but you're on the air. Brass, what's going on? Where are you? There you are. What's 224? What's going on?
Hi, I'm from.
Hi.
Hey, I'm from Phoenix.
Hey, how you doing? Hi, Phoenix. What's going on? Do you have a question or a comment?
Hey, yeah, Phoenix in the house. What's that?
Yeah. Okay. Will you have a question or anything, or you just want to shout out Phoenix? Is that it? Okay. Well, it looks like you muted yourself again. Okay. Well, there you are. Well, you know what, Phoenix? It turns out that there's 155 different countries represented in Altspace. It's pretty cool. Like when you move your arm out like this and you wave your hand like this and you're saying, "Hey, Phoenix, what up?" Somebody on the other side of the planet might be hearing you say that, which is pretty neat. So welcome to Altspace. We got Cool Kid 23. You're on the air. What's going on, Cool Kid 23? Where are you? I don't see you. Cool Kid 23? Maybe you press the button by accident. There you are. Hey, what's going on? You have a question, Cool Kid 234? No? Okay.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you
What's
hear
going on,
me?
Cool Kid? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a question or a comment or anything like that?
I'm getting googly eyes from my Oculus.
You're what about your Oculus? What is this?
I'm gonna get googly eyes from my Oculus.
You're going to get googly eyes for your Oculus. That's cool. I've seen people do that. It looks kind of funny because it looks like you yourself are the one with the eyes, right? That's fun to do. All right. A lot of people make a lot of things to personalize them. Some people paint them. Some people will put like different grips on them. I saw this one mod where they 3D printed some of these headphones that hang down from the side to make it behave more like a Vive. And it turns out that a lot of those are now selling. It's become a very popular modification. And if you're comfortable doing that, modifying your device, just be careful that you don't end up voiding your warranty, because you got your googly eyes and there's a lot of adhesive on it, and for some reason you got to return your Quest and you send it back and they're like, you know what, this has got a glue on it, we don't want this back. That can happen. All right, so be careful with that. All right, we got Woodland Moose. Woodland, you're on the air. I think it's Woodland Moose, or it just might be Woodland. Woodland, you're on the air. Where are you? Let's see. Going once? No? Maybe you pressed the button by accident. All right, that's possible. Let me see. Try again. Woodland, you're out there?
Hi, can
Speak to me. Yeah, hey, Woodland, how's it going? Nice to see you again.
Hi. So I have a question about the unit shutting off without any warning because the battery goes down and then all of a sudden you're just out. I was in your game show the other day and it just goes and you have no control over it.
Oh, is that what happened to you? Yeah, you just disappeared right off the stage.
Yeah,
we just thought it was stage fright got you. Okay, well, listen, that can happen. Usually you're going to get a warning at the very bottom of the screen that'll tell you, your battery's about to die, but you won't always get the warning, especially if you're not looking down to see it. Like, let's say you're looking up, as in your case, you were at the game show, Shark Time, and you got this big whale that goes, "Ooh, wow, we got hands up here. Check that out. Get away from me, hands. Get away from me. Look at it. Clear my view." But, you got the whale going by up top, and you're looking up at that whale, and then you get that notice your battery's low. You may not see it. All right. So it does pay. One quick way you can check your battery levels is if you press the eject button on your right controller, right? That mini menu is going to pop up in front of you, and you're going to see your battery levels right in the lower left, and you can just click on them and see how much how much percentage you have on your headset and in your in your controllers. So if you're about to come up on stage as a guest and you look and you're like, "Oh, I got 15% battery power left. This is probably a good time to plug in." It'll give you some a quick way to check that. That can help an awful lot. All right, cool. Thanks, Woodland. I appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, let's see. We're gonna time for one more here. Let's take Zach 123. Zach, you're on the air. What's up, Zach? Where are you? There you are. What's going on, Zach? No, maybe you pressed that button by accident. That can happen. I saw you shake your head no. All right, you want to okay. All right, cool. All right, no worries. Let's see. We've got Big E and A. Here we go. What's going on, Big? All right, what's going on? You're on the air. No? Yeah. Maybe you pressed the button by accident? There you are.
No, I'm good.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You good?
What's going on, man?
You have a question?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. So, yesterday I was playing like how she said she got kicked out of the game, but what if even if you lose it and it says it's at low battery, but then right after it says that you just power off. That happened to me yesterday. When I was playing a different game.
Yeah, it can happen where the game that you're in may be so graphically intense that you're not actually seeing the warnings come up. It may override it depending on what the app is. I've actually had it happen too, where you didn't get any notice and it just shut off. All right. It does help to become aware of your battery levels. You will develop a feel for it after a while. There are instances where you can plug in. I don't recommend like having standing experiences and being plugged in, but if you're having a seated experience, you can very often use it while it's plugged in.
Like it didn't even show, like it says that like low battery, but then after like maybe a minute later, it just powered off.
Yeah. So what will happen is maybe you're playing something that's very intense graphically, and it'll give you that warning, and you think, well, maybe I've got another 5 minutes left, but it's putting so much strain on the device that that power burns out very quickly. It also helps if you start out with 100% power. Try to keep your batteries topped off as much as possible, and if you do play when it's plugged in, try to make sure that you have 100% while it's plugged in, because then your headset's going to be what's called a trickle charge, and it won't have to work as hard to keep the device charged. The more hard it's working, the more the heat's going to go up, and the more and the less battery life you're going to have in the long run. All right, so just try to keep those batteries topped off as much as possible. Before you go into VR, always come in with 100%. Make that a rule. If you're like, oh, I got 20%, I can go in for a few minutes. You're actually decreasing the life of your device. So always make sure that you have 100% battery power when you come in there. All right, everybody. At the end of our events, what we typically do is we press this button on the wall here. And now when I press this, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft fly down the street, go up over those trees, and land in that backyard area. Now, if you've never flown in Altspace before, or if you have any more questions or comments, come with us out. We're going to take this ride out here to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. We're going to teach you guys to fly if you haven't yet learned how. All right, so I'm going to press this button. If you direct your attention out the window, watch what happens. Here we go.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
Now, this is a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft, and you can actually fly this ship. So if you join me by going out this door here through the lobby out into the backyard area, and listen, if you've learned anything here at all, please share it with those you come in contact with. So if you're wandering around Altspace and you see somebody down low on the ground, you're like, what's wrong? And they're like, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck on the ground. You tell them to press down that left thumbstick like it's a button, because it is. They'll pop up and you'll feel better. They'll feel better and you'll feel better because you help somebody, and that's how we help keep this thing going. All right, here it is.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. You've been a great audience. I'll see you next time.